Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So in this second instalment of Interesting Maps, one which I've titled Maps to Watch at 2 AM, we're going to start off with this interesting map of everyone in Europe saying where they feel the most attractive people come from. Italy does well, as does Spain. So I'm from Wales, and I've dated. I used to live in Spain, so I've dated Spaniards. Spaniards actually, curiously, and this is very true from my friends in Spain. They all fancy Argentinians, and the Portuguese fancy Brazilians. Turks quite fancy Russians, apparently. And Italians fancy the Swedes. Just little Switzerland is in love with French people, apparently. I was thinking about it when I found the map, who would I choose? And for me it's either Dutch or Swedish. But yeah, Spain is right up there as well. But yeah. So quite a few of the maps today are either about Europe or the States. I've slipped in a couple about Africa and South America as well. So the biggest export trading partner of each state, Canada, comes out pretty well. Then we got Mexico, but look at that, Switzerland. 2 for Brazil, including Florida. 2 for China, 3 if you include Alaska snuck there. And I think Hawaii is under here, who trade mostly with Australia. Yeah, but the United Kingdom as well here. Oh no, there's 2 Chinese there, sorry. And then France over there. And, oh, the UK as well. The United Arab Emirates. That's so weird. So this is a fact that I am aware of because I do study Swedish on Duolingo. It's the most common, or the most popular languages in the world are definitely French, Spanish, English, and then there's German as well. But Swedish is most popular, but in Sweden, there's a reason for this. The curious reason is because Sweden just has, at like 25% of the population in Sweden is sort of foreign born, and they're all trying to learn Swedish. So yeah, that's why Swedish is most popular in Sweden. This is one I absolutely love because apparently I'm told I'm quite obsessed with my height. I'm 182 centimeters, 6'2", and that is well above average in the UK. I think it's because Welsh, Celts in general, are much shorter, and people from Wales tend to be much shorter. If you ever see the football team, we have trouble with corner kicks. So predictably, the Netherlands is the winner, 184, and Bosnia actually joins them. That is a really curious fact that I was not aware of, that Bosnia have very tall males. I didn't unearth the data for females, but I know offhand that the Netherlands is also the tallest for women in the world. But yeah, Bosnia is a bit of a shock, and then the shorties are Portugal and Turkey, curiously. Honourable mentions go to Sweden with 182, so I'm average height in Sweden. And then the Czech Republic is 180, as is Croatia. 183 to Serbia. And where else is notable? Oh, Iceland. I don't know why they put Iceland on there. 181. That's also very tall. But yeah, the shorties gang are Spain, to an extent Italy, Romania, the sort of romance shorter, 177. Okay. Are you above average for if you're watching from Europe, are you average? This one is shocking. London, sad face. This is the one-bedroom apartment average rent price per month in the city centre of the capital of each country in 2021 in euros. So London, 2,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. It is absolutely shocking. During the pandemic, people just left London in droves because their companies said they could work from home. So it's so expensive that they saved so much money, and now some places in London are saying they have to work in the office again. And yeah, it's causing a lot of problems. Honourable mentions, shout out to Lisbon and Madrid, 850 and 880. And well, Amsterdam's quite expensive, but Berlin only 960. A friend of mine went to Berlin to study, and she was telling me how cheap it was. And where else is honourable? Well, I mean, Turkey, 190 for Istanbul. Oh no, it's actually Ankara, isn't it? That's a good thought. I wonder if Istanbul is more expensive because it's a larger city. And then Russia, Moscow, 820. I'm surprised actually, because Moscow can be really expensive in lots of ways, but then less so in others. It's curious. Okay. I like this one. It took me a while to get it. So Antarctica, the confusing continent. Which way is north? Every way. North. I like this. Still north. Cute. I love the fact that Antarctica's got a sort of unofficial flag as well, even as an emoji. Okay, this is a crazy fact. So the red part, which is Bangladesh more or less, and I think a part of India as well, maybe, I can't tell without zooming in. This part has a larger population than all of the parts in blue. So we're talking all of Russia, oh no, sorry, parts of Russia, Australia, Northern Africa, some parts of southwestern Africa, some parts of Brazil and Argentina, Canada, Greenland, Iceland, Scandinavia, the Baltics, some parts of the Middle East, and even some of the states of the United States of America, and Belize. Crazy. So this one is really interesting. I'm so shocked. Russia didn't shock me, -71, but Turkey, -48. That is incredible. I always think of Turkey as being a very warm country. I think that must be taken from its far east. Italy with -50. Is this colder than Turkey? Is that taken maybe from, I'm thinking maybe the Mont Blanc, the mountain ranges up here, perhaps? Portugal. Because it's on the Atlantic drift, -16, because most of it is near the coast, and I think down here are all mountains, so Spain receives less of that Gulf Stream, only a bit, but less of it. The general rule I read somewhere was that the colder a country can be, the further away, well, the more northern it is obviously, or southern, but the further away from water it is. So the coldest place in Russia is one of the places that's furthest from the sea. And I think the larger countries the sea. It's further south. 44, 43. I think it is deeply affected by northern temperatures as well. Iceland, curiously, is only 38. And then you've got Finland, Sweden, Norway, minus 52, 51, 53. You'd think Sweden would be the colder, sorry, the least cold because it's the least northern. That's interesting. Okay. Independence from the UK. I was trying to find the last one and the first one. So I think the first one is the USA, off the top of my head. 1776. And then, so, some of these, quite, 1983. That's, oh gosh, I don't know. St. Kitts and Nevis, I think. Australia's 1942, New Zealand 1947, Israel 1948, Ireland 1922, Canada 1931, South Africa 1931 as well. Yeah, I think 83 is the latest. Can you see any later? It's a remarkable fact that all these countries were once part of the sort of. It's not. It wasn't called the UK at that point, was it? The formal term has slipped my mind. So this is the frequency of red hair. Ginger people in Europe. Wales is like red, over 10%, as well as most of Ireland and Scotland. And then this, curiously, in part of Russia here. And then you've got the 5 to 9, so you've got Iceland, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and northern France, as well as parts of Russia as well. And then less so in France, Germany, Switzerland, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and Estonia. A little pocket in Poland, apparently. And yeah, that's a really interesting one. Under 1% down in Spain, Italy, Turkey. Very interesting. So similar to the one we looked earlier on, which was the river delta here, more people live in this red area on the planet than live outside of it, because it includes the seaboard of China and the whole of India, as well as Bangladesh, Indonesia, Vietnam, some on Japan, and the Koreas. So absolutely massive populations. So it's something like 2 billion for China, 1 billion for India, 1.8 or something. This is probably something like 4 billion already. How many are on the planet now? Is it 8 billion? So like that's half, and then I think there's 100 million in Vietnam, 100 and something million in Indonesia, something similar in Japan, 100 million is it? Maybe more. Pakistan's a massive country as well, as is Bangladesh. Yeah, in terms of population, it's probably, I want to say it's 5 billion in this area here. This one is absolutely shocking. I could not believe it. What I will say as a Brit, I just always assume that the States kind of has all of the same privileges and whatnot as us. So I always get really shocked when I find out about workers' rights in the US, which compared to the UK are terrible. I couldn't believe how little time off you get. This year I've got 35 days of paid leave because I had 30 anyway, and 5 rolled over that I didn't manage to take last year. So I've got 35 days to take this year, and I think, well, you can write in the comment section, is it something absurd, like you've got like 10 days or something for the entire year? I just don't know how you do it. And the fact that if you have a baby, you can't even have paid leave as long, it's the same as countries like Liberia, Suriname, Papua New Guinea, you know, even 26 weeks or more in Russia, and Iran, for goodness sake. It's unbelievable. Shocking. This one was really curious, and I wonder if it's got something to do with colonization. So, what offers citizenship, land or blood? Rule of the land, rule of the blood. So, jus soli. If born in the Blue Nations, you are automatically offered citizenship, irrespective of your parents' nationalities. Whereas in the red, you are given citizenship depending on the citizenship of your parents. And I noticed that Pakistan doesn't do that. It's if you're born there, then you receive it. I think it's due to the partition with India. Many people in Pakistan were not born there. We're coming into a generation that are, but many, for example, have come back or moved to the UK, but many lived originally in India and came to Pakistan after the partition, so that's possibly why. I'm really shocked to see Australia on the list. If your citizenship depends on your parents, or if their parents give them Australia, then they can be Australian, but if they were born in Australia, it doesn't make them Australian, which I find bizarre. Okay, we're going to look at some names. So I've done some research for this one. I was curious, because obviously things changed from when you were in school, and I've been out of teaching 10 years now, so a new generation of names are coming through. So Oliver apparently is the #1 boy's name in the UK, which I was only in school with one Oliver, and I didn't teach any Olivers when I was a teacher, so it was a very uncommon name, but apparently it's the #1 name, and I think George is #2, and is Henry 3rd, and Arthur is 4th, and I think 2 of those, Arthur and George, are to do with the royal family giving their youngest children those names. I think it's got to do with that, but also what I would consider to be old-fashioned names are coming more into fashion again. For example, my grandfather's name was Stanley, and apparently that's very common now, whereas I didn't know any people called Stanley when I was growing up, or when I started teaching. Okay, so Oliver, William, Noah. Apparently Noah's become quite popular in the UK, which surprises me. Mason, Jackson, I don't know any Jacksons. Liam, Henry, Elijah, don't know any Elijahs. Benjamin, I grew up with one Benjamin, but he was from Hong Kong originally. People from Hong Kong tend to have like quite old-fashioned English names as their first English given name before their Chinese name. Okay, and on to the ladies, the girls. Olivia is our #1 as well. It was Emily for a very long time, but now apparently it is Olivia. Sophia, Harper, Isabella, Emma, Mia and Ava. So I've never come across a Harper ever, and Isabella, it would be an unusual name in the UK prior to the last, well, I don't know about the moment, but I was really shocked that we had Noah, for example. So yeah, Sophia, yes. Olivia, yeah. Emma, absolutely, I have no Isabel, I can imagine. Isabella, less so. And Harper, no. I would actually consider Harper to be almost a boy's name. If I ever come across it, if I saw it was Harper Smith, I would assume it was a boy, actually. Yeah, that's how unfamiliar I am with that name. And this is one of the USA I really enjoyed looking at. You can see the mountains there, and then we've got the plains, and then it's like, wow, mountain. That's incredible, I love that. Okay, and last one on the states for a while. Every state's least favourite state. So apparently everyone hates California. Except people from California, Alaska, and north of Texas who hate Texans. But Texans themselves don't hate Californians, they hate people from Oklahoma. And I was trying to work out, this one here hates everyone. What's that? I think it might be over here. I can't remember the state, is it? It's not New Jersey, is it? Hates everyone, I love it. Only one hates Missouri. Hates Kansas. Oh, do they hate each other? Yeah, I find that really funny. If you live in the States, who do you hate? Hates Florida. Florida. People from Florida hate people from Florida. And also people from Hawaii hate people from Florida as well. Oh, bless. And then, talking about names, we come back to Europe and most common surnames: Smith, Murphy in Ireland, Martin, Garcia, Da Silva, Rossi, and then we've got a variety: Hansen, Nielsen, Andersson, Korhonen, Smirnov, Milnik. I've never ever heard that surname before. That surprised me. Popa, Ivanov, Novak, Müller, De Jong, Peters, or Dubois in the French region of Belgium, Schmidt in Luxembourg, Gruber in Austria, and Horvat in Croatia, Papadopoulos in Greece, and Yilmaz. Yeah, I've heard a couple of footballers called Yilmaz for Turkey. And this is an interesting one about the country of Argentina, which is massive, and we can fit all of these European countries into it. I was enjoying looking at this map and looking at all the different European countries. So you got Switzerland, France, Hungary, Austria, Ireland, the Netherlands, Albania, Luxembourg, Belgium, Denmark without the island, oh no it is with the islands, Czech Republic or Czechia, Serbia, Lithuania, Spain, Portugal, Bosnia, Latvia, Germany, Estonia, and then I noticed this one. This is interesting for several reasons. One, the Malvinas, the Malvinas, what's that in English? The Falkland Islands, are the same size as Slovenia, but also they are formally, I don't agree with it in case you're watching from Argentina, they are part of Britain, and we had a war with Argentina over them. So yeah, they are clearly on this map, but the map is done by Argentinians, I believe. So yeah, they cheekily put this map on there, but I actually, as part of my degree in Spanish, had to study the history of Las Malvinas, and yeah, it's I don't consider it British at all, but there we go. Okay, and then one for Africa before we go to our final slide. these are the biggest exports. And actually, it kind of upset me looking at this, because when you look at the natural riches that many of these countries have, and then you consider how desperately poor some people living there are, it just goes to show that the money is not being distributed fairly and is going to companies and individuals, multi-millionaires, billionaires, at the cost of their own country. It's really awful. But we've got some interesting ones. We've got the coffee region over here in Ethiopia. That's, if you have Ethiopian coffee, it comes from here. Tea, and then so many are gold, oil, diamonds here in the DR Congo, crude oil, crude oil, natural gas in Algeria, cotton in Mali, uranium in Chad, gold, cocoa beans, fish, apparently, from, that's Senegal. Yeah, the cocoa beans is Ivory Coast, I think. Diamonds, rubber, aluminium, and then any timber, and tobacco, curiously, coffee from Madagascar as well, livestock. That is, I want to say Somalia, but I might be wrong. And if you enjoyed the video, then click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe, and if you thought anything was interesting or want to correct me on anything I said or add, please add. I love and I read every comment. So let's all be nerds together. Give me some random facts you know about stuff that I showed you today. As you look at my beautiful country, look how hilly it is compared to the rest of Great Britain.